Somewhere off the coast of Florida, in water so warm and clear it looks like a postcard, something is moving beneath the surface that most swimmers will never see coming. The United States has thousands of miles of coastline, tens of thousands of lakes, and countless rivers and swamps, and hidden within all of that water is a short list of animals that have killed people, again and again, for centuries. These are not movie monsters. They are real, documented, living predators that share the same beaches, rivers, and estuaries that families visit every single summer. Today, we are counting down the 7 deadliest creatures in United States waters, ranked by how dangerous they truly are, backed by real documented cases, real statistics, and real behavior. Some of these will not surprise you. One of them might already be closer to you than you think. And by the time we reach number 1, you will understand exactly why this animal has earned a reputation that has lasted for over a century. Let's get into it. Before we go any further, if you're enjoying this kind of content, take a second to hit that subscribe button. It genuinely helps this channel keep making videos like this one. And I'd love to know. Drop a comment and tell me what part of the world you're watching from right now. Some of you might live right next door to one of these animals without even knowing it. Now, let's begin the countdown. Starting off at number 7 is an animal most people don't think of as a predator at all. The cottonmouth, also known as the water moccasin. This heavy-bodied venomous snake is found throughout the southeastern United States, from the swamps of Florida and Louisiana up through the wetlands of Virginia and as far west as Texas. Unlike most snakes, the cottonmouth is remarkably comfortable in water. It can be seen swimming across lakes, drifting through flooded rice fields, and coiled along the muddy banks of slow-moving rivers, often with its body floating almost entirely on the surface, a trait that sets it apart from many harmless water snakes, which tend to swim with only their heads visible above the waterline. Adults typically grow between 2 and 4 feet long, though some individuals have been documented at over 5 feet. And they carry a powerful hemotoxic venom capable of destroying tissue and disrupting blood clotting. The name cottonmouth comes from the pale white interior of its mouth, which it displays in a defensive gape when it feels threatened, a warning most people know to take seriously. Fatalities from cottonmouth bites are rare in the modern era thanks to antivenom and quick access to hospitals. But the bites themselves are extremely painful and can cause lasting tissue and muscle damage around the wound site. Southern states like Florida and Georgia record hundreds of venomous snake bites every year, and the cottonmouth is consistently one of the species responsible, especially during the warmer months when the snakes are most active and people are most likely to be wading, fishing, or swimming in the same waters. Fishermen, waders, and swimmers in the southeast are taught to give any dark, thick-bodied snake near water a wide berth, because mistaking a cottonmouth for a harmless water snake has sent more than one person to the emergency room. Herpetologists also note that cottonmouths are far less aggressive than their reputation suggests, generally preferring to retreat or hold a defensive posture rather than strike first. But that warning is easy to miss for someone wading through murky water who never sees the snake until it's already within striking distance. It's a reminder that not every deadly creature in American waters has fins or teeth the size of your hand. Sometimes danger moves quietly along the surface, and you don't notice until it's far too close. Moving up to number 6, we find an animal that spends most of its life buried in the sand, completely unbothered by human activity until it's accidentally stepped on. The stingray is found along nearly every coastline in the continental United States. From the Pacific waters of California to the warm shallows of the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic beaches of the East Coast. Species like the Atlantic stingray and the southern stingray are especially common in the shallow, sandy flats where families like to wade and swim. And some individuals can grow to a wingspan of several feet across, with a whip-like tail that can extend even longer. Stingrays are not aggressive by nature. They are bottom-dwelling animals that use their flattened bodies to hide from predators, often covering themselves in a thin layer of sand so that only their eyes remain visible. And their venomous barbed tail exists purely as a defensive weapon, not a hunting tool. The danger comes almost entirely from accidental contact. When a swimmer or wader steps directly on a buried stingray, the animal instinctively whips its tail upward, driving a serrated, venom-coated barb into the foot, ankle, or leg. This is intensely painful and can require medical treatment, but it is very rarely fatal. Deaths from stingray injuries are extremely uncommon in the United States and typically occur only in the rare instance where the barb penetrates the chest or abdomen rather than a limb. Beach communities across the Gulf Coast and Florida have popularized what's known as the stingray shuffle, a simple shuffling walk through shallow water that vibrates the sand and warns any hidden stingray to move away before it's stepped on directly. Lifeguards along many public beaches actively encourage this habit, and some coastal towns even post signage reminding visitors to shuffle their feet during the warmer months when stingray activity in the shallows increases. It's a small habit that prevents thousands of painful encounters every year, and it's a perfect example of how understanding an animal's real behavior, rather than fearing it blindly, is often the best form of protection. For our next entry, we leave the shallow flats behind and travel toward the mangrove-lined estuaries of South Florida, home to number 5 on our list, the American crocodile. Unlike its far more numerous cousin, the alligator, the American crocodile is a genuinely rare sight in the United States. Found almost exclusively in the brackish and saltwater environments of extreme South Florida, including Everglades National Park, Florida Bay, and the Florida Keys. Adult males can reach lengths of up to 13 feet and weigh over 1,000 pounds, making them significantly larger on average than the American alligators that share parts of their range. American crocodiles are powerful ambush predators, capable of explosive bursts of speed in water and an extremely strong bite force built for gripping large prey. Despite their size and power, documented attacks on humans in the United States are exceptionally rare, largely because the American crocodile's population here is small, protected, and mostly confined to remote habitats with limited human contact. Wildlife officials in Florida still urge extreme caution around any crocodilian in the wild, warning that no crocodile or alligator, regardless of how used to humans it appears, should ever be approached, fed, or underestimated. Conservation efforts over the past several decades have helped the American crocodile recover from a once critically low population, and today biologists estimate a few thousand individuals live within Florida's borders, a genuine conservation success story that also means more of these powerful animals are sharing space with coastal communities than at any point in recent memory. The American crocodile's near-mythic status in Florida, a genuinely massive predator that most residents will never even see, is exactly what earns it a spot on this list. Its danger isn't measured by frequent encounters, but by the sheer physical power it holds in reserve. Power that has been documented again and again in the more crocodile-dense regions of Central and South America, where this same species is responsible for confirmed fatal attacks on people who ventured too close to nesting or feeding areas. Now, if you're enjoying this list so far, this is a great moment to hit subscribe, because the 4 animals still to come are significantly more dangerous than anything we've covered yet. And the very last one on this list has a reputation that has followed it for well over 100 years. At number 4, We move from Florida's saltwater estuaries into its freshwater swamps, lakes, and canals. The domain of the American alligator. Found throughout the southeastern United States, from the Carolinas down through Florida and west into Texas, the American alligator is one of the most successful and widespread large predators in the country, with an estimated population in the millions. Adult alligators commonly reach lengths of 10 to 15 feet and can weigh close to 1,000 pounds. Powered by a bite force among the strongest ever recorded in the animal kingdom. Alligators are opportunistic ambush hunters, capable of lying motionless for hours before exploding into a short, violent burst of speed to seize prey near the water's edge. Unlike sharks, which live exclusively in the ocean, alligators share space directly with suburban neighborhoods, golf courses, retention ponds, and canals across Florida, which is part of why they're involved in more documented encounters with people than almost any other large predator on this list. One of the most widely reported and tragic cases occurred in June of 2016 at a resort near Orlando, Florida, when a young child wading at the edge of a man-made lagoon was pulled underwater by an alligator at night. The incident led to a nationwide conversation about alligator safety signage and swimming near freshwater edges after dark, and it remains one of the most cited alligator-related cases in the country specifically because it happened somewhere many people assumed was completely safe. Florida wildlife authorities respond to dozens of alligator-related incidents every year. And while fatalities remain relatively rare given how many alligators share space with humans, the state consistently reminds residents and tourists that any freshwater edge in gator territory, no matter how calm it looks, should be treated with real caution, especially around dusk and dawn when alligators are most active. Wildlife agencies also point out that alligators generally avoid people and prefer to retreat when given the chance. But problems tend to arise when people feed them, which conditions the animals to associate humans with food, or when swimmers enter water at night when alligators naturally hunt. Understanding that distinction. A wild animal simply behaving as it always has versus a genuinely aggressive encounter is central to how Florida manages the millions of alligators that call the state home alongside more than 20 million human residents. We're now entering the final three, and from here on out, every animal on this list lives in the ocean, and every one of them is a shark. At number 3 is the tiger shark, one of the largest and most powerful predatory sharks found in American waters, particularly common in the warm waters off Hawaii, the Gulf of Mexico, and the southeastern Atlantic coast. Tiger sharks are immediately recognizable by the faint vertical striping along their sides, most visible in juveniles, and by their enormous size, with mature adults regularly reaching 12 to 14 feet in length and weighing well over 1,000 pounds. What makes the tiger shark especially dangerous is its remarkably indiscriminate diet. It has earned a reputation among marine biologists as one of the few sharks that will investigate almost anything as a potential food source, which is part of why it's involved in a disproportionate number of serious shark bites relative to how common it actually is. Hawaii in particular has a long, well-documented history with tiger sharks, since the islands sit directly within one of the species' core ranges. One of the most widely reported cases in recent decades happened off the coast of Kauai in 2003. When a young surfer was attacked by a tiger shark while lying on her board in shallow water just off a popular beach. She survived the encounter and went on to become one of the most recognized advocates for shark safety and ocean awareness in the country, and her case remains one of the most cited tiger shark incidents in United States waters specifically because it was so thoroughly documented by marine researchers afterward. Hawaii's Department of Land and Natural Resources continues to track tiger shark activity closely, and beach closures following confirmed sightings remain a regular part of life on the islands, a clear sign of just how seriously officials take this species. Researchers studying tiger sharks around the Hawaiian Islands have found that the sharks appear to move seasonally, with numbers increasing in certain months, which has helped shape modern shark safety guidance for surfers and swimmers. Unlike some of the other sharks on this list, tiger sharks are also known to venture into deeper, more open water far from shore, making them a genuinely wide-ranging predator that Pacific researchers continue to track using satellite tagging programs. At number 2, we arrive at the bull shark, and if you live along the Gulf Coast or the southeastern United States, this is genuinely an animal you should know well. What makes the bull shark uniquely dangerous compared to almost every other shark species on Earth is its extraordinary tolerance for freshwater. Bull sharks have been documented swimming far up major rivers, including well over 100 miles up the Mississippi River, and they regularly inhabit brackish bays, canals, and river mouths where people swim, fish, and wade without ever expecting a shark to be present. Adult bull sharks typically grow between 7 and 11 feet long and can weigh several hundred pounds, with a thick, stocky build and an aggressive, territorial disposition that sets them apart from more timid shark species. Volusia County, Florida, home to New Smyrna Beach, records more shark bites per year than almost anywhere else on the planet. And bull sharks, along with blacktip sharks, are considered primarily responsible for that statistic, a direct result of warm, murky, baitfish-filled water where visibility is poor and sharks and swimmers frequently occupy the same narrow surf zone. The vast majority of these encounters involve minor bites rather than fatalities, largely because bull sharks are believed to often investigate rather than deliberately hunt humans, but their sheer numbers, aggressive nature, and comfort in the shallow water where people actually swim make them one of the most consistently dangerous sharks in the entire country. Marine biologists frequently point to the bull shark as the species most likely responsible for shark attacks that occur in unexpected places, far from open ocean, precisely because of how comfortable it is in the same shallow, murky water where families spend their summers. What makes the bull shark's freshwater tolerance so remarkable from a biological standpoint is a specialized set of internal organs that allow it to regulate salt and water balance in ways most sharks simply cannot manage, effectively giving it access to entire river systems that are completely off limits to almost every other shark species on Earth. That adaptability is a major reason researchers consider the bull shark one of the most successful and widely distributed large predators in American waters, freshwater or salt. And that brings us to number 1, the animal that has defined shark danger in the American imagination for well over 100 years, the great white shark. Found along both the Pacific and Atlantic coasts of the United States, with particularly well-documented populations off California and Cape Cod, Massachusetts, the great white is the largest predatory fish in the ocean, with confirmed adults reaching over 15 feet in length and weighing more than 2,000 pounds. Its size alone sets it apart from every other animal on this list. But it's the combination of raw power, sensory ability, and hunting precision that has made it the most feared predator in American waters for generations. Great whites are ambush hunters, capable of detecting the faint electrical signals given off by a beating heart from significant distances. And their initial strikes are explosive, often launching their entire massive body out of the water when hunting seals along the California and Cape Cod coastlines. The great white's reputation in the United States traces back to one of the most significant and well-documented cases in American history, the series of shark attacks along the New Jersey shore in the summer of 1916. Over the course of about 2 weeks, a string of attacks occurred along the Jersey coastline and in a tidal creek further inland, resulting in several fatalities and sparking a nationwide panic that led to one of the first organized shark hunts in American history. While researchers have debated for over a century exactly which species were responsible, with some later evidence pointing toward a bull shark for the inland creek attacks, the 1916 incidents cemented the great white in the American public imagination as the ultimate ocean predator, a reputation that has only grown since. In recent years, the waters off Cape Cod have become one of the most active great white shark research areas in the world, as a rebounding seal population has drawn increasing numbers of great whites close to popular beaches, leading Massachusetts officials to expand shark monitoring, beach patrols, and public safety programs. Encounters remain statistically rare, and most people who swim in these waters every summer will never see one. But the great white's size, power, and century-long place in American history make it, without question, the most formidable and feared creature in United States waters. Scientists who study great whites off California have also made major strides in understanding their life cycle, discovering that juvenile great whites use warm coastal nurseries off Southern California to grow before eventually moving into deeper, colder water as adults. A discovery that has reshaped how researchers think about the species' relationship with the American coastline. Every year, ongoing tagging and tracking programs continue to reveal just how far individual great whites travel, with some documented crossing entire ocean basins, a reminder that this apex predator's true range dwarfs even its outsized reputation. So there you have it. The 7 deadliest creatures lurking in the waters of the United States, from a quietly dangerous snake in a southern swamp all the way up to the ocean's most legendary predator. What's worth remembering is that every single one of these animals plays a critical role in its ecosystem, and the vast majority of encounters with people end without serious harm, especially compared to how often we all safely share these waters with them every single day without incident. Understanding how these animals actually behave, rather than relying on fear alone, is ultimately what keeps people safe. Whether that means shuffling your feet in shallow water, giving a basking alligator its space, or simply knowing which regions carry a higher chance of a shark encounter during certain seasons. Of course, this list only covers 7 animals, and depending on where you live, you might think we left out a creature that deserves a spot. Whether that's an orca, a snapping turtle, a Portuguese man-o'-war, or something else entirely. Let us know in the comments which animal you would have added, or how you would have ranked this list differently. We genuinely love reading your takes and seeing how much local knowledge our viewers bring to these discussions. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end, and we'll see you in the next one.